Hello. Hi, everyone. Happy Wednesday and welcome to our live today. If you pop on, please say hello and let me know where you're watching from. You may be watching on YouTube or Facebook, but I've got the comments pulled up. So ask your questions as we go along. So thank you so much for voting on what we were going to do. Uh, there was one person who kind of turned it and said she gave either this or this, so she kind of gave two answers. And so I just thought, let's just do it. We're going to be working on a sap bucket today. And so while we're going to be working on this one, I spent today prepping for the YouTube video that will be out hopefully Sunday. It might be Monday. And but we're going to do four. We are going to have one that is with transfers, which is what we're going to be doing today. I've got one with molds, one with inlays, and one with decoupage. So it'll be four different ideas for you on how to use the sap buckets. So hi, Shannon, how are you? Thank you so much for saying hello. So let me show you what I've got here. Hold on one second. Let me bring my project table up. Okay, so I went ahead and prepared this bucket. The sad thing is that my LED lights make this seem almost like it's navy, but it's actually a Prussian blue. So when I take pictures of this tomorrow and it's finished, then I believe you'll be able to see the true color. So this is not a navy. It is a Prussian blue, which is really more of a teal. And so it's just the lighting that is throwing that off. Maybe it looks more teal to you, but it doesn't to me. So to get this far, I did not paint the inside. What I did was I scuff sanded this, and you'll see the prep and everything in the video. But I did give this two coats of the Prussian blue. And then because I'm going to be using the transfers on this, I went ahead and sealed this with the Wise Owls 1 hour enamel in matte. So by the time we're done, I'm going to have to seal it again because I'll be sealing my transfers. I love a sap bucket. I think they make beautiful garden containers, or they can make a great umbrella stand, something like that. Let me know how you would use a sap bucket. If you have one, how do you use it? Or if you could get one, how would you use it? So we're going to be working with transfers today, and I'm going to be working with the Iron Orchid Designs Redow 2 transfer. I love the roses, and in fact, I thought, oh, this would be so pretty to plant like knockout roses or something like that in it. And so I thought that would be really beautiful. So this has a lot of typography. I also love that it has more of you've got some deeper red tones in the florals, or you've got these more kind of coral and pink colors. Those are the ones I'm really going to try to use most because I think they're really just going to pop off this color. I'm also going to show you how to create the easiest chippy paint finish that you can imagine. And I've also got a little offer for you, but I'll wait till we get to that piece. I just took off a little chunk of something, so I'll touch that up. But anyway, we're going to use the chippy paint finish for this. I also, while we're working on this, I want to ask you to start thinking about, I'm going to be doing that 2-color finish with either a rust, or I'm going to use the metallic gold dust. And I kind of started to go with the rust, because it is an old vintage sap bucket, but I thought that doesn't matter. The gold dust would look really beautiful with this too. So as I'm going along, once we get the transfers on, we're going to go to that next step. And I'd love for you to weigh in on, do we do the rust or do we do the metallic gold? So think about that and let me know. And then I've also got another little announcement or an idea, and I would love for you to weigh in on that too. So for all of the mixed media lovers, I thought I'd throw an idea out there for you. So anyway, let's get started. So again, Prussian blue, even though it looks navy, it is not. And I've got a bunch of transfers kind of pulled out already. So I'm going to grab those. and see. So I just want to do some like random floral designs, definitely some typography, something like that. So I'm going to go ahead. This one's a little too red, so if I don't need that, I won't take it. But always the first, you know, it's always that first step that's the hardest to do, right? So I'm just going to start with this one. And again, the YouTube video will have the other 3 sap buckets. One with inlays, one with molds, and one with decoupage, in addition to the whole spiel on this thing. So I think I'm going to go ahead and leave my typography in place on this. I don't know if I want to come up there with, or maybe I want to come up there with the typography. I think I'm just going to, I'm going to come down here because I can always add, I can always add something up there if I want to. So I'm going to measure about where my lip is, and I'm going to cut about right here, and we'll see where that takes us. If it's going to leave anything wonky or, you know, just some random stem hanging out there. I don't want that. Okay. These are so easy to cut with the grid lines. And hi, Debbie, how are you? Thank you for joining. And so I'm going to stand up to do this, but I want to kind of position this. I'm going to see, okay, that's in your direction too. So I'm going to kind of line it up down here with this little lip. And I'm just going to start here because you have to start somewhere, but I'm going to go more to the front, kind of centered. They have these seams on each side. So I'm going to just try to center a bit in between the seam. All right. And I'm going to stick this down, right? And we're going to have better luck with transfers this time than we did on that tabletop, although we were able to pull that off too. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in place and smooth it down with my fingers. And then I've got my little transfer stick. And so this usually goes pretty well on a surface like this. Let me pull this down for you. Usually goes pretty well on a surface like this, but we'll see. So far so good. It's releasing pretty well. Let me know if you've used this transfer before and what you used it on. I'd love to know. It's not one that I use a lot, but I do love it. And I'm never disappointed when I do use it. So I got a little bit on here. Now, my sap bucket happened to be a very dull galvanized metal. So I didn't prime this, but I did scuff sand it with a 220 grit sandpaper first. So it had no shininess except like in a couple of little tiny spots, and I just sanded those right out and dulled that up. The Wise Owl chalk synthesis paint has a little bit of a primer in it anyway, so I think we'll be okay. So I am getting a little bit of pushback on this. So let's go ahead and come down here. So while I'm doing this, I thought I could, for those of you that really enjoy the mixed media projects, I, for the longest time, have been wanting to start like a little series, and we could go live on YouTube and Facebook. And I thought I would just call it Mixed Media Mondays. And we would do a mixed media project. I'm actually starting a new art journal. And so I'll really be working in that. And I'll be happy to share the information on the journal that I'm going to be using, in case you would like to use the same. But you do not need a journal. You could just get mixed media paper or anything like that. It doesn't matter. You don't have to have anything special, you know, and we'll do a lot of different things. So I thought I would do Mixed Media Monday. And, you know, before I go do all of that, I thought I would just ask you if that's something you would be interested in doing together. And also, I'd love to know, is it better for you to catch lives in the mornings or the afternoons or the evenings? So let me know. All right, I'm struggling a little bit. Sorry for the noise. I'm lifting a little bit. Okay, we're gonna get that. I'm really excited about the sap bucket with the mold. The only thing is that I may have to adjust my design because otherwise it's going to be so darn heavy that I don't know. It's just going to be super heavy, like a cement pot or something by the time I get the molds finished on there. So I paused on that one so I could think about my design a little bit more. And if I thought really, if I could just think a little bit more about whether or not that's really going to bother me. I know my lights are shining in on this. So this has taken just a little longer. I'm keeping my arm down here so that as I lift up, I can see if I've missed a little spot or if we're still good. But this color is just so it's so pretty with it, with this Prussian blue. And you'll, like I said, you'll see that tomorrow when I share the picture of it finished, because I'm sure the lighting where I usually take my pictures is much better for showing the true color. All right, we're getting there. Getting there. You just have to, it takes a lot of patience to do these things. I always said that I don't know how I ended up loving creating so much, because I have patience with people, but I don't have always the most patience when it comes to stuff like this. But it's taught me how to be a lot more patient, right? So that's good. God must have known I needed a little lesson in that. So I sure have learned a lot about that. So I came up a little bit from that lip, but we can fill in there, no problem. I'm gonna come here with this leaf. You can just go in all the different directions and see, and I'll be able to read the comments in just a second. Okay. And then if we do decide that we're going to do the Mixed Media Monday together, then I will still do a project on Wednesdays and allow you to vote. You know, I really appreciate your voting, because maybe you're working on something and you just need a couple of ideas or ask questions or something like that. So I'd much rather these be something that is timely for you and helpful. So it would just be adding an additional live, but it would always be mixed media on Mondays. And Lord help me, because I even thought about doing a furniture finish Friday, but honestly, it's hard for me to get the furniture in camera really well. And so I will probably do that in pre-recorded mode or reels or something like that. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, let's get this one here. Got this little piece, and then we're going to get to see that first bit. There is this lifting. It did. Yay. Okay, I want to be careful and kind of hold this in place down here with my thumb, because it is, once it really releases all over, then it gets pretty loose, this little carrier sheet, and it could be a problem. I don't want it slipping off and then I lose half of my transfer. So I'm just holding it right down here with my thumb. Okay. All right, I'm getting this. Oh, gosh, you guys, we're almost there. Man, my finger's gonna hurt after the whole bucket. But I think these are just so pretty. And I was lucky enough to be able to get, I think I was able to get a dozen of them. It was 9 or 12 that I was able to get. There's this lady in Pennsylvania that she's a wholesaler, but it's all vintage and architectural salvage and things like that. So I don't always get a chance to see her when I'm up there, but when I do, I could be there all day, just like rummaging through her stuff because it is so, so cool. Okay. All right. Just 2 more leaves, you guys. 2 more leaves. For this one, anyway. Okay. Almost there. Okay. So I love this transfer with this color of paint. Don't you? I think it's just so, 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 so pretty. So I'm just going to burnish this down a little bit. Okay. And now I'm going to look at it and let's see where else we want to go. It might not need really that many transfers, but I do want something that kind of makes sense, kind of coming this way a little bit. And let me just make sure there aren't any questions. Hold on one second. Okay, so afternoon is great for you. And and for you too, Debbie, that's awesome. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. And I knew if I would just ask that you would be happy to weigh in. All right, so this is here. I think that's how you can see it. All right, so we've got this here, and then I'm thinking I want something to kind of come, down here. I don't need them to be butt up, completely, but I do want something. So let's see if I've got another one on a stem. I could use that stem. I kind of want something that's maybe coming back this way, but this could be really pretty too. This is the same one from a different transfer because I had opened a couple of them. So I really don't want that to be the same. I've got a little something here. I could do something where if I just cut off this little part, I could do something where I'm going to use up some of my scraps and do something down here. So that could be pretty good. So let's try that. I can use up some of my scraps, which would make me super happy because I saved these. So it's obviously a little bit more of a delicate stem. So I'm going to want something small for right here. I think I'm going to just even take that off so it comes a little bit lower. And we could do something kind of here, and then I could have something coming off there and then maybe up here. So let's try that. Let's find like a smaller bloom, I think. And remember to be thinking if we should do this, if we should, kind of highlight this with the gold or if we should do rest with it. Let me know what you think. I really like this little guy here because of his pinky color. So let's see what that would look like. And then we'll just do a smaller little bloom over there so we can kind of piece this together a little bit. But now I just lost my, no, there it is. Okay. So let me see where I might want that. If I can, it's okay if they overlap a little bit. So I think I'm going to come about here, and then I'm going to do something small right off this little stem so it's not sticking out there just, for nothing. Oh, hi, Cindy. How are you? I'm so happy to see you here. Thank you for joining. Come back and watch the replay because I'm going to be doing a different technique on this when we get the transfers on. And then I've got a, well, here's the deal. I'll just go ahead and say it. So I'm going to be using, if you've never used the Chippy Paint stamp set, it's a retired IOD set. And it looks like this. But we're going to be using this. These are all individual stamps on this 12 by 12 sheet. And it's retired, and it is the easiest way ever if you want to do a chippy 2-color finish or multiple colors. you know, you're able to do it after the fact, meaning that you've already got your paint color chosen. You didn't have to do a base layer and then sand or anything like that. So I have a few, only a few, and I can't say how much it is offered at, but it's a really big savings. And so if you type hashtag chippy, CHIPPY, it will ask you for your email address. So you are signing up, but and then it'll email you a code to use to get this stamp set. And so you may want to wait, and you may already have it. Um, and if you haven't used it, I'm hoping that I can help you to get that out. Or if you see me use this and it's something that you think you would like to do, then by all means type in hashtag chippy, all caps, CHIPPY, and it'll take you to that link. So once a week when we do these lives, I'm going to try to have something fun to offer, printables or, you know, a guide or something like that. But it'll expire after a week. So for example, the printables that were available last week are have already expired. So that is what we're doing. So I'm getting a little pushback on this one too. So I'm a little surprised by the pushback that I'm getting. It could be that it's so darn hot. I don't know what it is. I actually have a little swamp cooler coming from my room because it's just, oh, with all the windows, I love it. But we've had such a heat wave that it's just insane. I'm sure our electric bill is going to be, you know, showing it. But at least we can be grateful for air conditioning, right? And shelter and solutions. So let me get this here. All right, there we go. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do this little leaf here. I got a little bit of a cracking there, but that's no big deal. So the one that I thought I could use is something kind of like this. I thought that could be really pretty. I think I'm going to do that, and then I'll do the little bud on the other side. So what I'm going to do is just cut off this little stem over here, and we're going to put this one here. I'm going to come down so that I just hide that little area. It'll be fine. Okay, and so it's going to overlap just a tiny bit, but it's also a slightly different color. And so I think that'll be really pretty. The tough thing is when you're overlapping and you don't have a lot of it, when it's really close to the other design, you can be at risk of, you know, scraping this one off. So, but that's okay. We're going to do it. So, okay. So we've got this. I know, Cindy, it's just been so hot. And I don't want to, I got to stop talking about it, thinking about it, because I think it's just making me hotter every time I think about it, you guys. I think it's just like, oh my gosh. Okay. So let's do, all right. So I like that. We were able to use that. It looks maybe like a little funky, but you know, it's okay. It's okay. So let's then just do this little bud here. This one, I love that you can just kind of cut these out and piece them together and do whatever you want, right? I think this will be okay. Is that too big of a bud? Yeah, that one is too big for the stem. So I need to find something with a little more delicate. So there's one right here. Let's try that one. Now, when I have little pieces like this, I usually will use a little painter's tape and tape them to the inside cover of my transfer. And that seems to help. So this one's delicate enough. I actually, if I can line it up well enough, that could look good just coming out a little higher. So I kind of like that, right? And then we'll do something down here, and I think that'll kind of fill that in. All right. So I'm going to come down here. Where does that start? Where does that start? Right there. Okay. So it was such a good match. It was hard to see where one stem started and another ended. So the decoupage sap buckets are always so much fun. And so I was excited to be able to do one of those. That one's definitely fall inspired. And then the molds is super fun because it just gives it a whole new kind of look. So I want a little something right in here, and it doesn't have to be anything. Oh, let's see. I'm going to see what scraps I have left over to address that. And then I'll also see if it really bothers me if I'm not going to save these tiny little stems. If they had leaves on them, I would, but I'm not going to do that. All right. So we've got that, right? So we've got a little more, but you see what I mean? I think I need a little something there, but I think we're going to go on and see what we can do. So I was really hoping that I would have one that is kind of moving, you know, this way, that we might just have to make. Oh, well, this one does. All right. So this one does. So let's do that. And then it also has some little areas. Ooh, and there's I think I just found the design that I want for that little area. It's kind of a half one. All right, so I'm going to flip around here. What I'm going for is this one right here. I want to get these stems, and then we can put our blooms on them. I don't want to cut over the halo and then lose that, but I want to, okay. And I know that's going to be too tall. So again, I'm talking to myself. I can't help it when I'm working on this stuff. I always end up doing that. All right. So let's see if this is kind of what I'm thinking. Yeah. So this has this, but I'm going to take off these leaves and put them someplace else because, well, those leaves are kind of nice. And if I just did this, you know what I'm saying? So I wanted something that kind of flowed this way. And hi, Sheila, how are you? That's okay. I'm using the Rideau 2 transfer, Sheila. And if you get a chance, I know that you love the mixed media too. And so I just posed a little question in at the beginning of the live, and I thought you might be interested in that. It's just about doing a mixed media something. So how do I want to do this? I don't know that that's exactly going to be right. I kind of like the leaves. Kind of, I'm going to come here and chop those off a second and see if that doesn't help me a little bit. Yeah, I think that helps a lot. So if I come over here and I have like a bigger bloom coming this way, but then those are smaller. Oh, you guys, okay. This is just what you go through when you're trying to piece together. So I think I'm just going to make the blooms do something else. Okay, so I want one that's kind of going this way. This does. It could be big, and then I can add my stems to it later. Let's see if that kind of works out, but that would just kind of be hanging there. Let's try this. I'm going to go ahead and put this one, that same one, on the other side, and we're going to fill in from there. Because I think if I try to piece this completely around, it's gonna make me crazy. All right, let's see. I've got this. I'm going to leave the typography on this, off of this one, unlike the first one that we did. But let's just do this one and then fill in and see if that doesn't work. It doesn't have to be completely covered. In fact, I need it to be a little loose. All right. So it's here and I have here. So I'm going to try to come between the scenes on this one, and we're going to come back down about here again. So again, I'm going to cut off right there, see if I can get it lined up just a little bit better this time with the bottom. And again, be thinking, do you think the rust or do you think the gold is going to work for this when we're ready? Thank you, Susie. I know you do, Sheila. I know you do. So I was thinking we could do that. All right. So, oh, I've got it upside down. That's not going to go. All right. So I'm just going to kind of get this in position and put this in place. Like this. Get that lined up really well. And then we'll give this transfer a go again. This was the one that took a while. And my transfer stick is, you guys, I always have, I know I've got a bunch of them here, but still. Okay, I really need to make a colored transfer stick. But I keep all of mine. So maybe I need to decoupage my, do something to do my transfer sticks, because they're clear. I'm always losing them on my desk. But I keep all of them. So I've got a little basket that I keep in a drawer that has all of them. Okay, I'm just holding this down. And then we'll just do a little fill in. I think that's going to make that a lot better. Okay. You like the idea of the gold, Debbie? Okay. Honestly, I do too, but I was thinking the rest might be kind of fun, but I think the gold would just be so pretty with this. And then, I mean, it would make the most beautiful wastebasket too, if you weren't going to plant anything in it or use it as an umbrella stand or anything like that. It would make a gorgeous waste bucket. I would probably seal the inside though if I used it as one. I usually put like a trash bag in my wastebasket, but just to protect it from getting all gross, I would probably seal the inside so that I could wipe it easily. Okay, this one's going a little bit easier though, which is super nice. Okay, getting down here. Holding it. Okay, let's do that. I'm excited to show you the mold that I chose for the other sap bucket. So it's really pretty. Okay, so we've got that here. It's a little easier on this side. Where am I going? All right, let's go here. Get that. So if my hand's in the way, you guys, I'm so sorry. Okay. And hi, Royce. Oh my goodness. Well, I won't say, just, I'll just say congratulations. That's it. Again. And okay. So Royce, we're going to be doing 4 of these, but we're just doing this one tonight. And then the other one is for YouTube. We're going to do one with an inlay, one with molds, one with decoupage, and then this one with transferring. So we're going to do that. All right, let me see. So I did have a little bit of a hiccup there. So I'm just going to line that up and then use my stick to do this one. Okay. So a little bit of a bugger. All right, let's see. Okay, so let's burnish this down really, really well. I can't wait for you to see the true color of this sap bucket because the does it show navy to you? Because it does to me on screen, but it's not. So okay, so we've got some here. We've got this going on here, and now I think we can just add a few. And now that I see that, what I think I really like the idea of is just maybe something coming down off the lid in a couple of places. I don't know. I'm kind of thinking of that, like maybe here, something a little upside down, like that's so big. I kind of hate to waste too much of that, but I was like thinking something like, I don't know, something, no, I don't know. Let's just do, I mean, it's really kind of pretty like it is, but I do think it needs, I don't know. Maybe I am overthinking it, which would not be the first time that I've ever done that. So I think I'm just going to do a little, maybe a little something just to make it look a little bit different. Take this one and just kind of see if I can't get it to come off of one of those stems so that I've got a little something, something like this. Yeah, something like that is kind of pretty. Just a little something to fill it in just a little bit. As a safety blue on your screen, okay. So it is definitely the Prussian. So you'll see that tomorrow when it's not under LED lights and it's under, it's got some daylight and all of that, regular lighting. My camera lights are LED and it doesn't always show the best, color. So it's not always great about that. So I've got this coming here. So rusted up. So we have a vote for rust and we have a vote for gold. So I need a tiebreaker vote. And so this is going to be using the chippy paint stamp and doing a little dry brushing on this. So I need a tiebreaker vote. Who's gonna be brave? And Debbie's idea of doing both. All right, I'm up for that. Let's I don't know. Let's give it a go. Why not? Okay. So it's just doing a little. Gotta release it here. Okay. So it's just a little something there. And I want to see if there's something. I still am not, I don't know. I feel like it needs a little something here too. So let's add one more of those little buds. I know I put one down. That's not going to work off of there. So let me, oh, here, I've got one here. So let's try this one. And then I think I'm going to come down here and do that. And then I think we'll see if it needs, I think that's actually going to be good. and then we'll go on to the chippy paint. I could have, done like a salt wash finish on this, I thought, but there's already so much texture in the bucket that I was a little worried about my transfer. I've had success putting transfers on a salt wash finish before, but I was able to kind of really sand that pretty smooth, and I wasn't going to be able to do that as well with something that was already so textured. So I decided, knowing that I rarely like just one color, that I would do that. So there, I like that. I like that. I think that's pretty good. I've got a little typography here, and then maybe I'm going to put a little typography there. So just give me a second to decide what we're going to do. I've got this one. I think I'll just kind of come, nope, that's too close to that. Maybe something, I'm just going to go here like this and lay that down. So get a little more typography going in there. And we can do that. Yes, golden blue. Yep. All right. So let's do the gold first and then decide if we're going to do any of the rest. We'll see if we think that it needs anything. When I think of sap bucket, I expect there to be a little bit of rust or something. But this is also really such a pretty design on this. So I know my hand is in the way, but I'm trying to make sure that this thing doesn't slip. Okay. So let's sometimes if I lift just a little bit, I can get that going. Then you just have to make sure that you've burnished it really, really well. So it's not just kind of floating on top there, but it's really down and in there. So I'm going to take my kind of go in that space and do that. So this is where we're at. I'm going to roll this for you if you can see it. So we're like here and here, and we've got that. We could add more or not, but I like it the way it is. Also, honestly, I think my hand's tired, y'all. So I think that's what we're gonna. I think we're gonna say it's perfect and exactly the way we wanted it, and my hand's tired. So I'm gonna go ahead and just set this over here 1 second while I just clean up this stuff a little bit, get this out of the way so that we can go on to the other bit. So I want to make sure I'm not throwing away anything important. I've got that I'm going to have to set aside. That can go while I talk to myself. So I'm going to be using Wise Owl's Gold Dust. And so this is it's their heavy metals metallic line. And I think you know that I'm a Wise Owl retailer. And so I really do love their metallics. They do not always need to be sealed. It really does depend on how you're going to be using a piece. And so I actually really use it for, or I guess I should say, I more often use it for like little decor pieces or for what we're going to be doing now, which is just adding a little something. And Debbie, I think it's really pretty the way it is too. I think that you may be really surprised at what just a little bit of extra something. I mean, I think it's important to be able to leave things alone when you need to, but it's also really neat to be able to just add just a little something. So I'm going to be getting a let's see which brush I'm going to use. I want to make sure I have a flat, and I want to make sure that I have a, let's see, I had those little, what did I do with those little brushes? I have a sponge that I can use. I think we'll start with the tape. I've got a little sponge dauber. I guess I can use my sponge dauber for now too. But for the chippy paint stamp, I've already seasoned this, and each of these stamps is individual. So you can pull them off. You could use them all at the same time. But what I'm going to do is just choose. I had my little thin mount here, fell on the floor. So I have a thin mount. I have a little piece of cardboard here that I'm going to use to roll this out. And then I want to grab a little bit of a paper towel. So when I'm using the stamps like this, the paint, how do you say that? The paint is so liquid that when you put it down on your surface, it can just kind of spread out. So, and what I mean by, so you kind of lose the design. It almost looks like it's smeared sometimes when you're, especially if you're doing it on something like this. So what I like to do is to take a, I'm first going to go ahead and choose, I want something, I think, kind of thin to start out with. And so I'm going to apply that to my thin mount. I need a paper towel. So basically what I'm trying to say, and not doing a good job of it, is that I like to, it's almost like a dry brushing concept, right? Where we have our paint on. So I'm rolling this, it's going over the corrugated. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go ahead and roll this on and get paint on there. But I'm also going to go ahead and just lightly tap it off, or on something like that. So I just got a bunch of paint on the back of this. So let me do that. So that's what I was trying to say and not doing well. So I'm just going to apply a little bit of paint, and I'm just going to dab a little bit of that off so that it's not, super juicy. Okay. And then I think let's go ahead and see if I can prevent myself from getting too much. So I'm going to go ahead and put this here, and then let's do a little bit here. I'm going to set this down, hold it in place. It can be a little tricky on a round surface. Press with my hands and lift up, and it's just a little bit of distressing. And I can do that along this edge here where I think there might have been some wear on here, right? And so it does provide like a 2-color finish without the need to do like an undercoating. So I'm just going to press in place here, and I'm going to do this all the way along this top. So I love the gold with this. I did some panel art, like some little wall art. I need to stamp that off on my paper towel. Hold on. I did some wall art with that, and the gold was just so pretty with it. So I do love that. So I'm just touching, and it just gives a really authentically worn fit. And so I'll use a different size in a minute, and you'll see. But if you don't have the stamp set and you would like to get it, again, if you just type in #Chippy, it will ask for your email, and then the code will be sent to you so that you can get it at a really nice savings. It is a retired stamp set, and but I don't think it, well, I know what happened. Once they came out with another kind of texture stamp on a much smaller scale, then this one kind of was less popular. So anyway, and that offer is good for until Friday at 4. So You can see we've got this little bit here, and it just gives that really authentic chippy finish. So I'm going to get another design in here. Here's one that has, let me set this aside. So here's one that has I'm trying to choose which one I want. And so I like this one because it just has these little random designs. That's what I like about them so much. And it is just, yeah, it's really cool. So I'm going to go ahead and set this on here. So you get different looks depending on which element you choose. You can get something really heavy. The black areas are going to be a lot more heavy than this is. I think it's all caps. Shannon, I'm so sorry. CHIPPY in all caps. And so it is going to, I'm going to do this. I'm going to touch it so it doesn't have too much buildup. And then let's go ahead and do this here. I'm going to actually come down a little bit here. All right, so I'm going to lay this down, and it's going to give a, that I can come like this, and I can turn it, angle it. It doesn't matter. I can get a lot of chippy or just a little chippy. Doesn't matter. It's whatever you like. And then if I don't like an area, all I have to do is go back over it with the Prussian blue paint and seal it again. So if that was a little too much, then I can fix that easily by just doing a little more of my base color right over the top of it and then seal everything. So I'm going to dab a little off. And again, this is just making sure that you don't have really too much paint on the stamp. So I'm going to just do a little bit there, and then a little bit there, and a little bit here. Okay. And a little bit here. Just areas where I think, you know, it could have worn leather or something like that. Okay. And I don't want to do too much, but I do want to do a little bit here, and then we'll go on to the dry brushing of this as well. So I can do this right here is where I think it just needs a little bit, not much. I'm just kind of kissing it a little bit. Where else do I, right here. I'm going to kind of come here so they're not all going in the same direction. I just turn this, and I might even just go a little bit here and over that. Okay. And so now for this, I'm going to let this sit for a little bit. And then now for this, what I'm going to do is just take my sponge dauber that I just got out. I really wish I had my, oh, where is my flat brush? Maybe I can get it. Just bear with me 1 second, because I really think that's going to make a better option for us. My God, I used up all of my flat brushes today. Nope, I've got one more. All right, so I've got this little angled brush right here, and so I want to use that instead of the sponge dauber. And I was painting so much that I went through my brushes. So I'm going to get that paper towel again. I'm going to put some on here. I'm going to tap off and dry brush. And we're just going to do a little, I want to set that so it doesn't blow over because I've got my fan going. And we're going to do a little bit on this edge. So I'm going to stand up again. And I just want to do a little bit of dry brushing on here. Just a little bit. And I want to get the bottom. And again, I can just go right over this with a little Prussian blue paint if I went in an area that I didn't want to. right? Here's an area that I want to go a little heavier on because this is where I didn't quite get that leaf lined up. And the way I'm going to disguise that is just with my paint. So once I get this area, I'm going to wipe a lot off. And then we're just going to go over it in random areas with like a little bit of a hashtag motion. So I'm going to get a lot off of here. Okay. And I'm going to just do in random spots. There goes I've got my fan on. So I've got to watch everything because it's going to blow over. So I have just the smallest bit of paint. And when you do this, because the bucket has a little bit of texture in it, then that is where this is going to pick up. So I want to be careful not to just go in a straight line, but you hopefully can see where it just picks up on that texture in the bucket that's already there. So we could have just left it at that and not done the chippy bit. But I do have a couple of spots that I think are a little heavy, and I will just go over those with the Prussian blue when this is all dry. So this just gives it a little subtle sheen. And just going into, you can barely see it, but it's there. And I just think it adds a beautiful little shimmer to this. So just the smallest amount of paint. See if I missed any areas. I'm going to kind of come over here. I'm actually now having to put a little pressure on it because the paint is almost completely off my brush. There's hardly anything there. But now we'll spin this around. So here's what I love: the dry brushing a lot. I think this is a little heavy. I love this up here, right here. Oh, I've got to turn it this way so you can see it. So I love this up here on here because I think, where you're picking it up and handling it, I think that's an area where you would get a lot of the wear and tear. So I like that. I think this one area, where is it? I know I'll see it right here. So I'm not in love with this. So that doesn't look as natural as it should. So I'll go over here and bear with me 1 second. I'll get it. Okay. So here is my Prussian blue paint. And I'm going to scoop up that gold paint and put it back in my thing. Not that I don't have a ton, but I don't even know if I can get it in there, but I can try to scoop some of it up in there. Probably with a brush would be better. I'll try that in a little bit. So I'm going to use my Prussian blue paint, and I'm going to use that same brush, and I'm going to do the same technique to soften this. So I don't want to just, paint over it completely. But even just doing a little bit of dry brushing over a spot that you felt was a little heavy, you can do that too. So this is an area that I definitely want to fix. So never think that you have to completely paint over the entire piece just because you got a spot that you're not happy with. A little dry brushing is magic, I think. So let's do that, okay? So I'm just going to come in here, and all I'm really doing is softening this, right? So I'm also creating a little bit of a green in here because of the blue and the gold. So if you don't want that, just use a clean brush. And I'm just going to soften this up so it's not as harsh. So any area that I felt was just a little harsh, I'm just going to dry brush over that. And it's still going to look worn, but it doesn't look as stark. And I think it was just a little too condensed in there. So you can go right over your metallic with this if it's too heavy in an area, and just soften it like that. So I like that a lot better. So I've still got that gold, but I don't have the, you know, just that area where it just felt speckled, I guess. So without risking, let me move this out of the way, and then I can wheel this around for you so you can see it. Let's do this. Okay, so we've got we started with the area where we had a little typography up here. So I'll try to roll it around for you. And it's just like that. And so I think it's just got a little, I don't know, it does have like a little bit of a nice texture to it. It's not just one solid color, has a little interest to it. It helps it to keep that vintage fit to it. So I'm going to go ahead. So I hope you enjoyed this. And again, the other 3 buckets will be included in the YouTube. And I'm going to pull this up and say, yeah. So anyway, so there's always a fix for something, right? Always a fix. So thank you so much, Sheila. I want to go and see, I think I saw a question about okay, let's see. Yes, it worked. Oh, good. Oh, you mean the tag. Thank you so much, Shannon. I appreciate that. Yes, so Sheila, I'm using, this is, you couldn't tell from the container, but I used to keep them in FIFO bottles, but I would get these little clogs in them. So I get these condiment bottles, and you can even get these at the Dollar Tree. So it's just like a different lid, and it comes in a pack of 2. And one will hold, this one at the Dollar Tree holds a little less than a pint. These off of Amazon, they hold quite a bit, and you can even get them in quart size. So it's just a condiment bottle. So I'm getting less gook in my paint bottles. So I'm still working through those FIFO bottles. So the gold paint I'm using is Weisel's Heavy Metals Metallic in gold dust. But yes, if you have a metallic paint, you can use that. You could use an acrylic gold paint. It doesn't matter. I'm just really, what I wanted to show you was adding a little metallic to this, and then how to fix anything that you weren't happy with. So there is just always a fix, you guys. Always. There's always a fix. I say always. There's probably something that, you know, but I think you just work through it and see what you can do. So it's always worth trying and seeing what you can do. So anyway, everybody. All right. So if you're watching on replay, let me know about Mixed Media Monday. That would be an additional live each week. And we would do it. I hope, I've just got to double check because I do, like, I don't know, I have Zoom calls in evenings and stuff like that too. So I've just got to double check. But I realized Mondays were really probably the most practical day for me to add a second live. And then stay tuned for next Tuesday so you can vote on the next project that we'll do on Wednesday, and look for the YouTube video. So I'll be sure to post the link here. And I am just so grateful for all of you. It is so much fun to create with you, and you're showing up here it just makes it so much more fun. And so anyway, thank you so much. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and I will reply just as soon as I can. Wherever you are, I hope you're doing well, and I will see you next week. You are so welcome, Sheila, and I'm so glad that Mondays work. All right, everybody, take care. Have a great night. Bye-bye.